welcome back. Mr. Abhiyagunathan, if we start from where Mr. Dharamana was just left off, we are talking about the pollution caused by coal power generation. Now, while that would happen even in the best of circumstances, we had a situation this year, or rather last year, beginning from last year, where the import of substandard coal, I mean in terms of the granular size of the coal, the granular size was removed from the bidding criteria when a bid was put in for the supply of coal for the Norachole plant. And it is that change of criteria which the Supreme Court said had shocked their conscience. You know, it was that change of criteria after the bids had been put in, and also that committee that was appointed by the Minister of Power and Energy to look into that matter also recommended that it was also said that it was not wise to have removed that particular criteria, the granular size. Now, when the granular size is removed and the powdery coal is brought in, coal with a greater content of powder, when that is brought in, though it may not affect the technical specifications of the plant, still there will be a lot of, the wind will blow it around, and there will be enormous pollution, and that has been happening. I think that was what Mr. Alapana was referring to, that this pollution was taking place right in front of your eyes at Norachole. So how does that? I'm just referring only to that granular size right now, not to the other controversies regarding that transaction, because we can't get into that here. So what would you say to that?
Well, it's very important. At least now we are discussing the issues, the decisions made by the relevant procurement groups, authorities, the issues associated with coal power. The coal power itself is in a mess. The power plant construction, we had number of issues. They made the payments without make sure that it's up to the standards. Then while purchasing coal, this is going to be one of the key businesses in the future. That's how the businessmen look at it, and they try to grab that opportunity. They are, I think, not only during this period but earlier too, the formula was not properly established. They were frequently changing those to favor to either party. That's how things happen. And I can assure you that from the beginning itself, there were certain elements which had vested interest favoring certain regions, which had a long-term impact of the Sri Lankan economy, because we were purchasing at a higher rate. And the environmental issue, that's I agree. Now, for the future, we need to have a transparent process to make sure that these things will not happen in the future. So, technically we should be competent, professionally we should be aware of those things. This is not a transparent process anyway, though sometimes this goes to the cabinet. While setting the specifications itself, the officials are biased to certain potential bidders. So, they fix specifications in order to entertain certain bidders. So, these things not only in the power sector, it's happening everywhere. So, we need to have a transparent process to make sure that these procurements are happening in a transparent way, and it will be beneficial to the country. Now, just to respond to your earlier question regarding what if we did not have this coal power plant. Well, these discussions happened in late 80s, where we were commissioning the large hydropower plants. Then we did a comprehensive study, and then the CEB since 1990 or 1988, they come up with the idea coal is the cheapest option. By 1995, we had 97% renewables, hydro, but the CEB was pushing to have coal power plants, and there was a agitation against that by the environmentalists, and as a result, neither coal nor any other power plant came up, and only replacement was short term oil, which was the most expensive one. So, if we had a proper plan, if we knew the trends, most important thing is not the current values, but the trends. If we knew the trends, then we should have been working in a different program, and then we should have been, though true, we will not be having a coal power plant, but we would have been tapping all the hydro reservoir, hydro potential, and major portion of wind and solar, which is which became competitive later on, and the biomass. So, the emphasis was towards coal. So, we had no option going for coal. But if we had a proper plan, knowing that by another 10 to 15 years coal is no more, so why we push for that, and if we are ready for the next era, we could have been having large number of the renewable energy power plants in the country. So, well, at a later stage, as we had no option, then we have to accommodate the coal power, but if we had a proper plan, then everything will be in a different setup. Most important thing with renewables is not only power plant, how the system can absorb that, and system stability is a key issue. But now we say that the grid, the system cannot absorb these renewable energy technologies because it is variable. But we should understand that from 1990 onwards, we established this transmission system in a such a way to accommodate central coal power. That is why we cannot inject renewable energy system. If we had a different plan, our system would be geared to have more and more variable energy. We could have easily had a pump storage power plant which can store and which can absorb to a certain extent variability of the power, renewable energy sources. Now, we have the firm energy we can get from biomass, but with mainly with wind and solar, we need, it's renewable, it's variable. So, proper planning should have addressed that issue. By this time, I mean, we are ready for the next era definitely. Still we are discussing whether we are going for coal or renewables. It's very unfortunate. We have no need for us to discuss this. We need to gear our all our effort to go for renewables, for which we need to have a different transmission system, different distributed distribution system, and the government has taken decision, clear decision recently, the rooftop solar. They have announced a rooftop tariff to go for 1 million rooftop by 2025, which is an aggressive target, which gives the opportunity for the consumers to generate and sell electricity to the grid. So, this is the real future, because in the recent 200 years, we had centralized power plants, one location you mine and supply, distribute all the other prices, one point location we generate and distribute island wide. We had one power plant in Puttalam, 900 megawatts, we were planning to have 1000 megawatts in another location, central, but the future is distributed. Each and every of our consumers, they have the freedom to tap the energy resources in their surrounding, the rooftop and in the surrounding. So, this is an ideal opportunity for the consumers to utilize and get this opportunity, because we have a new value to our roof, which was not there previously. So, now the system has changed. Now, we need to think of a different transmission system, different distribution system, and supporting the consumers and the distributed power suppliers to cater to the increase in demand for the future. So, it is a new era. We have two options. Demand side management is essential, and also we need to think of concentrating on renewable energy technologies.
Yeah, we'll be taking a short break. Stay with us.